On the 1st of November, 2020, TCGWOLF officially uploaded his first video onto YouTube. That video was Shadol from Scratch, Episode 1, that I, for some reason, chose to premiere, even though I literally had 0 subscribers at the time. Boy, what time flies. We are now at the 1st of November, 2021, meaning we've officially turned 1 year old. I honestly can't believe it at this point. It feels like only yesterday when I opened the first pack for Shadol from Scratch, and now we've actually passed over a year. Christ. So to celebrate this momentous occasion, I decided to host a Q&A section a couple of months ago where anyone on the Discord could feel free to ask whatever on earth they wanted to know, and I would answer it in this video. That will be at the end section of this video, because before we get there, let's go look through some TCGWOLF statistics, shall we? And no, don't worry, I'm not going to bore you too much with the numbers. As of the recording of this video, the channel has officially hit 1,861 subscribers. That is absolutely insane, considering my goal for the first year was 500. Yeah, I'm not joking when I say this. I wrote this down on the 1st of November that my main goal of YouTube was to hit 500 subscribers. I did that in the first 4 months. Sitting here now, where we're very close to hitting the magical 2K mark, feels absolutely astounding, to be honest. I never thought in the life of me that people would give enough of a crap about a Swedish guy wanting to make videos about card games as to actually follow along with it. Not only that, but the Discord has hit well over 150 members so far, and the activity there has been crazy. We've also hit 100 videos on the TCGWOLF channel, even though some of them are now technically hidden, but I digress. I'm quite proud of what I've achieved, to be honest, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm stopping here. The support everyone in the community has shown me over this last year has literally pushed me to create more and better, I suppose. I took off way harder than I had any right to, I'll be perfectly honest. I started this channel because I watched a lot of smaller content creators at the time, and I said to myself, hey, you know what, I could probably do this too. I did, and for some weird reason, I turned out a lot better in numbers than some of they did. I still don't know to this day why that is, but hey, there's a comment section down below. How did you find out about me? Why did you keep following me for this long? How long have you been following me? There's a lot of these questions that I'd really like to know about, everyone, so if you want to take the time and explain them, then yeah, comment section down below. Use it. Regardless of that, I'm planning a lot of things in 2022. As it stands today, I am still unemployed, which may or may not change. You never know. The times we're currently in is rough for all of us, I'm sure. But that means I have a lot of free time to expand my horizons in terms of YouTube, I suppose. I will still be sticking to card games, do not worry there. I'm not exactly going to go past that. But you will see more non-Yu-Gi-Oh! On this channel, as I'm moving more towards other card games that I'd like to try out. Magic the Gathering is something I've competed in professionally before, and it's something that I am far better at than I am Yu-Gi-Oh! So you may see me play some either Magic the Gathering Arena, Magic the Gathering Online as a possibility, or just Commander with my friends, which we usually do on streams, which I'll get to that in a moment. You will also see me attempt some other card games that I've never played before, like the Digimon card game. Seriously, I really want to give it a go. It looks really, really fun, but I've not found a good way of playing it yet. But once it appears, you might see me give it a try with a couple of people. I'm not sure. We'll find out what I do with it, eh? Not only that, but as some of you know, the streams have now moved back to YouTube as we were on Twitch for about half a year or so. With Twitch turning into an absolute shit show over the last half a year, I've decided that it's about time we move back to where I started from. So, in case you missed the streams or just want to come watch me play video games live, you can now check the upcoming streams section on my channel page, or, you know, just click subscribe and click the bell and you'll see them in your sub box, in order to join me live for the streams. This also means that YouTube memberships now have the same bonuses as patrons do, and you'll get to flaunt your little badge in the chat on stream. So that's a cool little thing for you if you didn't know. Regarding the patrons and YouTube memberships as well, they were updated about a month or so ago to give you more accurate rewards based on your tier. So if you haven't checked them out since and you are even remotely interested in them, I do suggest giving them a look. There's quite a few rewards that alter the content that I make that you can either inspire or change in a couple of ways that may be interesting to you. Now, enough with the selling out. What are my plans for 2022? Well, as you all know, both Season 2 and Time Warped will be coming to an end in the early 2022. We're about over halfway done with Time Warp now, always reaching the 2/3 point, to be honest, and Season 2 is in editing of the halfway episode, I believe. I believe I'm editing episode 15 as we speak. The thing is, I have a couple of more Yu-Gi-Oh! Projects down the line that I want to start working on, but they all depend on the end of the 2 series. As some of you know, Season 2 is taking place inside of a video game, which I've just named the virtual world because I'm not very creative. The whole goal of this thing is for me to win. At the end of it, there is going to be a tournament yet again, and unless I become the victor, there will be a Season 3. Season 3 will still take place in the virtual world, but everything else is going to be reset, meaning I start from 0. You people will yet again have the choice for me to choose a starting point, and please, for the love of God, realize that it's a starting point this time, for me to start in Season 3. The only catch is, I keep all of the upgrades I made in Season 2, so Season 3 is going to be a little bit easier, hopefully. This is, of course, given the fact that I lose, which maybe we should hope that I don't. Time Warped will also be coming to an end, so me and Acorion, of course, will be splitting ways in terms of, well, Time Warped. It's been a huge part of the creation that I've made over the last almost a year now, and honestly, I'll miss it. But I do have plans in the works to bring in other creators, Acorion included, so we'll see how that turns out. In terms of non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, I also have a Magic the Gathering series in the works, but I will keep quiet on that one for the time being because I do have quite a few ideas. It just needs a bit of testing behind the scenes to make sure what I want to do actually works, because you never know. So before we head into the Q&A section of this video, I'd like to thank every single one of you for watching. I can't believe I've honestly gotten as far as I have, but I will intend to keep going as long as life allows me to. I really, really enjoy creating content for you guys. It's been a ton of fun over the last year, and I'm hoping it can only get better from this point onward. To those that just cut over here thanks to the chapters function of YouTube, hi! You just missed the update about TCGWOLF, so I do suggest you go back into the video and watch it if you haven't, but if you're just here for the Q&A, that's fine. All of these questions will be in a random order, so you may see the same person asking questions multiple times in a row. I haven't gone through checking the random order whatsoever. Let's go!
Let's start out with the most important question then, Raigeki or Lightning Storm?
Gonna have to go with Lightning Storm on that one, Chief. It just does more than Raigeki does, and it's not limited in one. There's no reason to be running Raigeki over Lightning Storm realistically.
If you didn't have a limitation of budget, what deck would you most want to pick up and learn?
Honestly, this is going to make some very specific people of the Discord happy, but if I wasn't limited by budget, I'd probably want to learn some form of Orcust. The thing is, the Orcust cards aren't exactly that expensive anyway, but they're a damn annoyance to get a hold of over here for some reason. But yeah, some form of Orcust. I'm not entirely sure which one.
How did you get into the children's card games?
Back when I was about, I don't know, 10 years old, 11 years old probably, I started exploring the world of internet video games, and I got together with a group of people who have been my friends since, and we've named ourselves Buddies. Don't ask. And one particular member there actually was really into Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. He introduced it to us, and I kind of started playing it from there. Back then, there was also a game known as Duel Monsters Genesis, which was held on the Beyond engine. By today's standards, it's absolutely awful, but back then, it was absolutely everything a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan needed. We met up there almost every single day after school just to have a couple of duels with, albeit very terrible decks because we didn't exactly know how to build a good one, but it was so much fun, and it just kind of stuck into me from there.
What was the weirdest moment in the game you ever had?
Honestly, this is such a hard one to answer because I've had a ton of weird moments, but I think the weirdest one must have been for me to get back into the game and just see how fast the game had gotten from back when I used to play it. It kind of continues off the last question, honestly, because back then when I learned the game, normal summoning a monster and attacking for a chunk of damage was a legitimate thing that you did, and it was just kind of acceptable. Now when I returned to the game with Shaddoll from scratch, if you weren't OTKing your opponent on turn 2, your deck was considered bad. It was such an awkward experience seeing the game speed up to such a degree that it had, but to be honest, it's still been kind of fun.
What's the best burger you've ever had in your life?
This one shown on screen 100%. My girlfriend brought me to a place in Athens known for serving absolutely ridiculous burgers of all kinds. I was not disappointed.
What's the strangest duel you've had that you can remember?
Episode 0 of Time Warped. Just the entire thing. It was incredibly awkward going back and playing with the original structure decks for one episode without really understanding that, you know, it was old Yu-Gi-Oh! Very old Yu-Gi-Oh! It was just weird.
Why did you transition from Magic to Yu-Gi-Oh?
Now, this is an interesting one because, as some of you know, I competed professionally in Magic the Gathering. The whole reason I actually transitioned back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again was the fact that Magic the Gathering just took up a lot of money. We're talking a ridiculous amount of money. When I actively played Magic the Gathering, I was playing during the Khans of Tarkir block up until the end of the Zendikar block, just about. It's about a year and a half in between those two sections, but I was really into the game at the time. I was playing Abzan, one of the best mid-range decks you could be playing at the time. The only thing that was attached to it was the massive cost. I think the deck I ran at the time was upwards of like 13 to 1400 euros. Now, the issue with Magic the Gathering, as a lot of Magic the Gathering players know, is that Standard rotates, which means every 2 years, the cards that you spent so much money on can no longer be played in the format. When this happened to me, even though I knew it was coming from a long ways away, you know, I just kind of lost the interest to rebuild my Standard deck once again, being forced to change into a playstyle I didn't really like when the Innistrad Return #1 block appeared, so I just kind of phased out of it. I still played Commander during the entire time, don't get me wrong, so I never, like, dropped the game completely. I just stopped playing it at a professional level because I wasn't interested in investing that much money again just to have the same thing happen again in 2 years. During this time, I also came in contact with a bunch of the other creators that I know today, simply because of my interest for Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted to get back into the game, and I wanted to see if the game was as fun as it was when I was a child. I gave it a couple of games, and I really got back into it. I looked up all of the deck lists at the time, and every single deck list was about, you know, $500 to $600 if you're not counting hand traps and stuff. And since nothing ever rotates in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I felt that both the investment in terms of money and the investment in terms of time was much more rewarding for Yu-Gi-Oh! Than it was for Magic the Gathering. So I swapped over.
Is it too late for you to do Magic content since you are mostly viewed as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Guy?
Well, that really depends on how you're looking at the thing. In terms of my analytics, yeah, probably. But they have not been that good since I took my return trip back to Sweden and had a 3-week break or so I don't think I can exactly ruin them more than I already have. In terms of my viewership, it all comes down to what they'd be interested in watching, to be honest. If people would want to watch me do Magic the Gathering content, I more than happily would.
Why did you start making content?
Truth be told, I have actually been making content since I was about 13 years old. I've just been doing it very sporadically. I started out making Let's Plays when I was 12, and they're about as good as you can probably expect, but I did do a lot of things throughout my time as a quote-unquote creator. I made Let's Play videos, I did World of Warcraft for a little bit, and then in 2020, the whole COVID-19 thing happened, and I was basically stuck in my house doing absolutely nothing. During the time, I happened to come across channels like Heart of the Bards, Echorion, and some of the bigger creators like Nim and Ruggles, inspiring me to take my own journey using everything that I taught myself as a, well, child, I guess. It just sort of came naturally to me when I had a look at the things and I said, hey, I could probably do that, but I could probably do it better.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Stegosaurus.
Why Aloof Lupine as a profile?
The nickname Wolfie doesn't come from just this channel. That's something I've been called since I was probably 14. In some cases, I've even forgotten my real name in favor of my nickname. The whole reason I chose Aloof is because Gene Warped Warwolf looks way too aggressive for someone who's literally as mellow as I am. It just seemed fitting to slap a bunch of meme glasses on it and call it a day.
What is your favorite race in D&D?
Dwarf.
Sweet or spicy food?
Spicy all the way. To my girlfriend's dismay. Hey, that rhymed.
Opinions on the bandroll movement?
There was a bandroll movement? Leave the bird alone, it's fine.
Should Max C be legal?
No.
Original Ash or Feet Ash? And if your answer is original, why are you lying to yourself?
Now listen here, bucko. Forehead Ash is the only Ash that exists in my mind. The thing you call Feet Ash is a creation of your imagination and does not exist in the real life of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you cannot tell me otherwise.
Favorite anime?
The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Sailor Moon at a close second, considering my cat's name is literally based off of Luna from Sailor Moon.
How's unemployment going? Or life in general, I guess.
Pretty shit, not gonna lie to you. I came home in the beginning of May, and I've since been looking for a job, sending now about 300 or 400 applications, and a grand total of 8 of them have actually invited me to interviews. None of them have gone past that, as you can probably tell. But, hey, I hit 1 year on YouTube. That's something.
Favorite JoJo?
Joseph. Although the old one. He's just way funnier.
If you try to fail and succeed, then which have you done?
Neither. You've banned End of Battle Phase from the Discord.
If you could get isekai'd into an anime, which one would it be?
Since when was the word isekai an adjective? Also, the answer is probably Overlord, because that shit's cool.
Thoughts on Minecraft?
Honestly, it's a pretty fun game. If I had more time on my hands, I probably would sit down and play it more.
What's the summoning mechanic you feel Konami could expand upon more?
Honestly, the mechanic with the most potential would probably be Pendulum. There's just so much design space that you could do with Pendulum that it really leaves a lot to be desired, especially now in Master Rule 5. I really want to bring Pendulums back to being an actual deck you have to worry about, but I don't know. I don't know what they could do with it to just make it better, but I really want to see Pendulum become a thing again.
Who is the best co-host you ever had and ever will work with, and why is it Ikorian?
It's not really that hard to be the best one if you are currently the only one, Mr. Ikorion.
Why is Ikorian the better duelist between you two?
Heresy!
Do you want to stay in Sweden or move to another country again?
Truth be told, I absolutely hate traveling. Like, to a disdainful degree. So the only reason I would ever move to another country again is if I moved back to Greece so I could actually once again be living with my girlfriend. Other than that, I ain't planning on going anywhere.
Wanna have a sleepover? My mom said it was okay, just as long as we go to bed by midnight. Oh, and I also have melee.
Fuck yeah, dude! Just don't tell my girlfriend, she'll probably get upset.
Will we see a VTuber TCGWOLF model someday?
You'll see me dead before you see me VTubing.
What do you banish on summon?
The people that don't read my Discord rules.
Not a question but a reminder for people to like and subscribe. Also join the Discord.
Oh yeah, you should probably do that. Listen to the man.
What's your second favorite Flomvel card?
I like how you're asking for second favorite because you know my favorite's Fire Dog. My second favorite is actually Urquasis, simply because it's a really cool synchro from back in the day.
Do you hate Paleo Phantom Knights?
Yes, with a burning passion, because the idea doesn't work.
Is the sealed only Sunday universe in the same universe as Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series, or are just aesthetics based on the GX series?
Honestly, I drew a lot of inspiration from the old Tag Force games, simply because they just had everything I needed them to be. Other than that, I've sort of picked and chose different aspects of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime altogether that I felt were fitting for the series. But yeah, to answer that question, a lot of it was based in Tag Force.
What is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! set?
No joke, the 2020 Tins. Not only is it home to Dragoon, which was the literal, I don't know, lifesaver of Season 1, but I'm in the set. It's the best thing ever.
How? Letter B in square. Ace to you from 1 to 27.
21.
How is Floof?
Both of the floofs are doing wonderfully, thank you for asking.
What sauce would you like with your chicken nuggies, sir?
Hit me with that sweet and sour, baby!
Who would win in a duel, Goku or Saitama? And why is it the cameraman?
Nope, that logic checks out. Got nothing to say on that one.
Is Melfi a good deck?
No. It's the best deck, baby!
Best waifu?
From like, what universe? Cartoons? Anime? Video games? Fuck it, here's all three.
Best husbando?
There can only be one.
Potato or chicken nuggets?
I'll take the nuggets, please.
Why is pizza without pineapple superior?
Finally, someone fucking gets it.
Your favorite pendulum archetype?
Honestly, I'm a sucker for Sulfacord, thanks to Chip actually showing it to me. Sulfacords are just, they're fucking adorable. Alright, I really want them to be good. Just give them some more support. Make pendulums great again. Make Sulfacord great.
Wolf, are you K9? And if not, are you free?
No. And no. Just no.
You are hypothetically required to unban one rank 4 without Zodiac in the name. Which one do you unban and why?
Bring me Shockmaster back. Let's make rank 4s great again.
Favorite number card?
Number 48, Shadow Lich. The card is absolutely, like, super bad, right? No denying that. But that was the first number card I ever get to hold in my own hands for whatever reason. And the design is just cool looking. Come on, it's a giant Reaper with a scythe that says 48 on it. It's badass.
Favorite summoning mechanic?
Exceed, even though I didn't even play during the Exceed era. I still really like Exceed. The principle of it is really interesting.
Any traumatic experiences while dueling against Hero?
No, not in the slightest. The deck's not that good. It dies to, like, a majority of the hand traps you could possibly draw.
How did Eco and you found each other?
Through Heart of the Bard's Discord, I think. I'll be perfectly honest with you, the details on how I actually met him are kind of blurry to me. I've spoken way too much with him over the half a year since I've known him, so could be anything. He was incredibly persistent about being the person I brought on for Time Warp, though, I'll give it that much.
Would you ever do a podcast?
Yes, maybe. More details on that when Time Warp ends.
Who is your favorite small YouTuber, under 10k subs? Who is your favorite big YouTuber, 100k plus subs?
When it comes to small YouTubers, there is one person I've always advocated to be something that I strive for: Raining Card Games. Raining Card Games was one of the biggest inspirations for me to actually start my series back in the day, simply because of how charming his personality is. It feels like you're sitting down across a dinner table with him at any point you're watching his videos, and there's a certain charm to that, to be honest. When it comes to favorite big YouTuber, I actually don't have one. I don't watch any YouTubers that are that big. The biggest YouTuber I happen to watch regularly is Ruggles, and he's at about like 30k. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
Honest opinions on Crossout Designator, and if the card is too powerful and gets put on a future ban list, could Called by the Grave come back to 3?
Honestly, Crossout Designator is fine as it is. The thing with Crossout Designator is that it's only good for decks that are already running a ridiculous amount of hand traps. There's no point for you to just run 3 Ash and 3 Crossout Designator as an, I don't know, counterweight to Ash, because those 3 cards could just as easily have been other hand traps or more support tools that would do more effective things. The thing, again, with Crossout is that it was an incredibly overhyped card, I feel. Don't get me wrong, it's still really, really good, but only in particular circumstances. It's not good for every deck, and therefore, no, it's not too powerful. Called by the Grave, on the other hand, is a card that literally any deck could make use out of and negate a whole aspect of the game nowadays, which is hand trapping. It leaves your opponent with a minus for attempting to play around, you know, going first heavy combo decks that literally don't give you a chance to win unless you can interact with them. Called by the Grave could probably come back to 2, but 3 might be a stretch. But at the very least, Crossout Designator exists. I'm not all too happy about it, but it's there.
What is your biggest hot take on Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yu-Gi-Oh should become a digital-only card game. As much as I love in-store play and being able to support my local game store, making Yu-Gi-Oh a digital-only card game makes perfect sense. The game is literally built around animations of dragons and monsters flying around, being summoned, shooting laser beams at people through dual discs. I mean, it just makes sense. It is far more exciting for me to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Online than it ever will be in person, just because I'm expecting the sort of extravagant performance of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not just a competitive sport, it's an anime. It's over the top, it's ridiculous, and you can't really replicate that with physical cards. Unlike something like Magic the Gathering that should have probably stuck to be a physical product, Yu-Gi-Oh! Should transfer into being digital. It just fits the game better. It also helps out with all of those really weird rulings cases where nobody really knows what to do.
What do you like to do when you feel burnt out with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or other card games?
I tend to play a lot of World of Warcraft. I've played the game since I was 13 years old, and even though the game has gotten massively downhill the last couple of years, it's still a guilty pleasure of mine. If I'm not doing that, I'm probably cooking, because that's another thing that I really, really like to do.
Top 3 decks you've wanted to build for a long time and still haven't?
Grand Maju is a thing I've been wanting to build for a long time, but have never thought to purchase the cards for. In addition to that, we're looking at Sky Strikers, because honestly, they're just a fun control deck, but I, yet again, have never sat down to actually purchase the cards. And lastly, Prank Kids. Even though they're now significantly gimped in this ban list, they're still kind of a cool deck.
Would you rather have Graceful Charity back, or Pot of Greed back?
Unironically, Pot of Greed is the lesser of two evils there. The graveyard has just become such an important asset in the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! That dumping 2 cards into it is going to cause a lot more damage than simply drawing 2.
Are you a Jedi or a Sith?
Sith 100%.
Are there any non-YouTubers that inspired you to make content?
Yes, in fact, there are 2 of them. Day9 is another fantastic TCG player who plays Magic the Gathering almost exclusively, and he's just an adore to listen to. He's also done a ton of actual shows, things like Spell Slingers, which was a Magic the Gathering show he hosted together with... I don't remember. It'll be on screen. And then Critical Role, because Matthew Mercer is a godsend.
What was the funkiest / most exiting encounter you had in a session of D&D?
To cut a very long story short, the party's bard had just acquired himself a bagpipe for the first time. Being incredibly skilled in the veil of music, he decided to go out into the town square and blast the bagpipe away. Only issue, he had been drinking, it was 2 AM in the night, and he'd never touched a bagpipe before. Needless to say, he woke half of the city up, including the city guard, thinking it was the actual, a war alarm sound. He was then later arrested and put on trial for sucking at music. It was really fucking funny.
If you could play one deck with its prime, what would it be?
Teledad, because I too want to be rich enough to be able to afford 3 dad when it was actually a thing.
Favorite hand trap?
Dimension Shifter, because fuck you and the fun you're having.
If you build a new deck, do you create everything from scrap or do you copy a list first to see where the deck is going?
Honestly, I do a bit of both. Generally speaking, I do take a look at online deck lists first to kind of understand what makes an archetype tick, and from there I create my own deck list. I give it a couple of games, see what needs changing, if anything needs adjusting, if I don't like a ratio I might change it. But yeah, it's really a mix, to be honest. Like with Chajal from scratch, that was a deck that I built entirely with no help whatsoever. I literally just went with the knowledge that I had of coming back into the game, did Googling to see kind of what card does what and what interaction's good, and from there just built a deck. I had freaking Eldritch in it for crying out loud, which I don't think anyone else ever did.
Favorite D&D class and why?
Barbarian. Because nothing gets the plot going faster than an impatient guy with a giant axe.
Should Yatagarasu return?
No.
How has your day been?
Oh, it's been great, actually. Thanks for asking.
Favorite danger? Monster?
Snek, obviously. I have a Snek on my PC at all times. That's how much I like Snek.
When will we see your physical hands opening up Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic products?
When I can afford it. So whenever I get a job or the patrons decide to pay for it.
Who would win in a boxing match? You or Ikarian?
Honestly, if there was a way for us both to lose, that's exactly what would happen.
Favorite Magic deck?
Depends on format, to be honest. When I played Standard, I played Abzan midrange, which I would still do today if it was a thing, because Siege Rhino is an amazing card. And in Commander, I tend to play Rakdos, Lord of Riots, because I like shenanigans.
Favorite DreamWorks movie apart from Shrek and Megamind?
Prince of Egypt, hands down. That movie is beautiful to look at.
Top 5 countries you want to visit?
I think I touched on this one earlier. I couldn't even choose one, let alone make a top 5. I really hate traveling.
Favorite YouTuber or content creator?
I honestly don't have a favorite, I don't think. I watch so many different types of content and so many different creators that they all sort of blend together in the end. See the other question that I did about my favorite YouTubers of specific subscriber accounts if you really want to know.
Is Earth flat?
Inviting you to the Discord was a mistake.
Do you have any collaboration projects planned in the future?
Yes, but also no. But also yes. More specifically, the podcast I was talking about a little bit earlier is one of the things that I do have planned going forward, but there's also a couple of series that do require more people to be involved than just me. So, we'll see how that turns out.
If you could bring one old school deck into the current meta, which would it be and why?
Here we're gonna have to define what old school really is, but if we're going to go from anything that isn't MR5, Flamvel Synchro. Seriously. I really, really want that playstyle to come back, but due to how fast the modern game is, it's impossible. It can't come back. Like, Flamvel's build off of the fact that Fire Dog can destroy a monster in the battle phase and you do things in main phase too, which in the modern game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is way too slow. But I'd love to see it come back.
Who's your favorite child members in your Discord?
MC, without a doubt. I would not be able to host the Lupine Weekly without his help. He is essential to making things work.
Sub or dub?
Sub if I'm watching it seriously, dub if I want to have a laugh.
Top 3 snacks you like to snack on when playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega?
That's a very specific way of asking me for snacks preference. So, to summarize this short, in Sweden we have a type of potato chip that is known as barbecue, but it is not the barbecue chip that you guys are used to back in the US. In the US, your barbecue chips taste kind of like barbecue sauce does. They're very sweet, they're kind of tangy. In Sweden, however, barbecue chips taste of onion. Just onion. It's like onion powder and salt, basically. They are absolutely goddamn delicious, and if you haven't had the chance to try them, I highly suggest that you do. Other than that, I am a sucker for coffee. Coffee's a snack. Don't at me. If none of those are available, Mars bar will do just fine.
Which series inspired you as a child?
Honestly, I didn't watch that much TV when I was a kid. I was kind of busy running around doing other stuff. I don't know, I legitimately don't have an answer to this one. I can't remember a single show that I watched as a kid that really made me care. I don't know.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'm gonna be honest here, I didn't even know what a Klondike bar was before I googled it. So it's some sort of like ice cream treat formed like a cube surrounded by chocolate, I'm guessing. It's like an ice cream thing, right? What would I do for some ice cream? I don't know, probably walk to the freezer.
Did you ever thought to get this many subs?
No, I really didn't. I think I touched on this at the beginning of the video as well, but when I started the channel, I set out the goal of 500 in a year. I've almost, quadrupled that as we're approaching the 2K mark as of this video. It's been one hell of a ride, I'm gonna be honest. Not only that, but I've almost... I think I could say I've built a community at this point. The Discord is absolutely flourishing with people you see on the regular who just kind of sit in there to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's actually really nice to see, to be honest. Just having the amount of people care enough to show up in a Discord just to, hang out is really nice to see. Not only did I get this many subs, I got a community and I got a general following for things that I do. Kind of crazy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of today's celebration video. There were a lot of questions, I'm gonna be honest. I think I did like 85 or so of them. I honestly thought you guys would go a little bit harder on the personal questions, but hey, there's always next year, right? As always, I'd like to extend my warmest handshake to all of you. The fact that you've followed me now for almost a year means a ton to me. Remember to leave down in the comments below how you found me and why you decided to stick around, and if you haven't stuck around, why? It'd be interesting for me to read through, just getting the stories of the people that have literally gotten me as far as I have, to be honest. Regardless of that, here's to another year of TCG Wolf content. And as always, which I can say because this is the greeting I used in the first ever episode, remember to stay safe out there.